Welcome to my channel. My name's Diana, and today we have a special treat for you. It is Super Bowl time. So, as you all know, there's a lot of party treats and appetizers and finger foods out there that aren't really vegan friendly or even sometimes gluten free. I've been there. So in today's video, we're going to make 3 different items. One is going to be more of a like finger food appetizer. The others you could serve as appetizers as well, but we're going to be representing Kansas City and Tampa Bay in this video because we wore red and we didn't want to have a biased opinion about either team. So let's get cooking. All my recipes will be gluten-free and vegan. I'll put the recipes in the description down below, but let's get going. And if you've never been here before and you're new, you could consider subscribing. My channel is all about eating a healthier lifestyle surrounded by vegan and gluten-free recipes as we follow and track my weight loss journey. Thanks for watching. So in our first recipe, we're gonna turn everyone's favorite layer dip into a vegan gluten-free one. Ready? So to a pot, I like to add my beans just to heat them up a little bit. I know you can serve them right out the can, but this is just kind of what I like to do to give it a little extra flavor. Make sure when you buy your beans, you always look for the vegan one because they do sometimes put pork, and I love that these packages always say gluten-free. So I like the black beans. You can do also, they have regular refried beans, like they look more brown. But I'm a black bean girl, so that's what I went with. I also am going to heat them up because I'm going to put a couple more ingredients in them, so I'll show you in just a second. So into this mixture, I like to add some fresh squeezed lime. I do about maybe half a lime. And then I just do a little bit of some salt. Just gonna kind of stir it up. And it's already heating up. It doesn't really take long. I just like it to be nice and mixed together. And then we're gonna take it off the heat. And then our first layer is gonna go down. So this is the easiest layer to put on the bottom. Most Mexican layer dips have the refried beans on the bottom. So that's what we're gonna do today. And then I'm just gonna spread this out. And the next layer is gonna be vegan sour cream. Obviously, you can use your sour cream of choice. You could even do plant-based yogurt. You could also not do any sour cream and put this on. Now the reason I did this layer next is because we're going to do the salsa next, and trying to spread salsa, just grab any kind of store-bought salsa. You can make your own too, but you know, this is for sake of time. I did mild. Personally, I prefer medium, but so yeah, we're just gonna add this in. The reason I do the salsa on top of the sour cream is I feel like it's a pro tip. If you try to spread salsa on first and then spread the sour cream on top, I feel like because the salsa is so runny, it doesn't really work very well. So it's much easier to put the salsa on top. Next, we can do cheese. So I know not everyone loves cheese, but you know, you can add that on. So I have 2 different types of cheddar here at the Violife and the Dea. I'm just gonna add a little bit on. You can go as heavy or as light as you'd like. We're just gonna do a little bit. This cheese is very oily, so it's that way just so it can melt, which we will heat this up a little bit. You don't have to, but I do feel like the flavors kind of meld a little better. I'll just do half and half. I like to add some black olives, but everyone's welcome to this party here. So looks like we will use them all. All right, so we're actually gonna put this in the oven on 400 degrees for about like 10 minutes. We're really just looking for the cheese to melt. Once the cheese is melted, we'll bring it back out. And then I have some avocado in a bowl. We're gonna make some guacamole. I just didn't wanna stick that obviously in the oven. It'll be kind of gross. So be back in a second. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes and you can see it smells so good. I wish I could give you smell-o-vision, but the smell is so delicious and the cheese has just started to melt. Now the great thing about this appetizer is if you haven't had this before, you can heat it up right before your guests get here. They'll eat it hot and then you can leave it out on your counter or table for them to keep eating. Even if it cools down, it's still really delicious. So we're gonna just finish this off with the rest of the ingredients. I'm gonna make the guacamole now. This is just how I like to make it personally. You can add all different types of ingredients to this. For instance, you could do tomatoes, cilantro, red onions, garlic, lemon, lime, salt. You know, you could put pineapple in there. You could get really fancy with it. I've seen people put honey, all kinds of other things. Obviously, this is vegan guacamole, so we're not gonna have that. I just use a good old-fashioned potato masher. They probably sell an avocado masher, but we're gonna add in some of these jalapenos, so just a little bit. Because we want it spicy, but we don't want it where all you taste is heat. And then this is one of my favorite things to add into guacamole is some frozen corn. So I love adding in corn. I just feel like it gives it an extra texture. And then lastly, I just season it with some lime. So we're gonna do some fresh lime, just another half a lime. And then some salt, so. And that should do it. And quick, easy guacamole. And then what you can do is you can add it right on top of the dip. Or, you know, you could add it, you know, on the side. And I'd probably serve this on the side for those to dip. So.
A few moments later.
So next up is gonna be the fish taco. I've seen lots of people use different products for their fish. We're not gonna do fried fish. We're gonna make this lighter. So we're gonna use hearts of palm to give it a more shredded feel. I did buy these ingredients hoping to give it a more seafoody taste. So we're gonna get this marinated and then we're gonna finish it with a pineapple salsa at the end that I'm gonna make with some jalapenos, lime, and onion. And then we have some taco shells. I got some blue ones just for a fun effect. This was the dish I picked out for Tampa Bay. They're all about fresh seafood, and I just feel like who doesn't love a really good light fish taco full of protein? And yeah, hearts of palm actually does have protein in it, believe it or not. And I know pineapples are really good for you too. And who doesn't love a delicious, juicy pineapple? So, all right, let's get this video started. Ready? So we're gonna marinate these in this dish. So let me just dump out. This is how they come. All right, and then we're just gonna shred this up. So it kind of has a more shredded fish consistency. So we have everything shredded. I'm gonna add oyster sauce to this. It's obviously vegetarian, so it's not really made from real oysters, to give it a more seafood-like. And then we're really gonna ramp it up a notch. I'm gonna boil in some water some seaweed and some of this. It's a crawfish shrimp boil, but to be honest with you, it's just seasoning. There's no seafood in it, and they were out of Old Bay, so this is gonna have to be sufficient. And then we'll kind of taste. Hopefully it's going to have that sea-like marinade for this. So let's boil this and get it started. So we have this boiling. We're going to throw in this Old Bay type of bag in the water. There we go. We're going to add this to our fish. So now the water will actually come to a boil. We're going to turn it down a bit. We don't want the bag to break. It's kind of like making tea. And then so I'm going to turn this down. We're going to put it lower, and we're actually going to add in the seaweed as well. All right, so we have our seaweed boil here. I'm just gonna pour all this out because I want this to marinate. For a little while, so it can pick up some of these flavors. So we're gonna let that do its thing.
Many minutes later.
All right, so we've had the hearts of palm marinating and soaking. I'm gonna now put them in the pan just to kind of cook them up a little bit to give it a more of like a hot temperature, and also a maybe just a little more of a sear of the flavors. So we're just gonna transfer all this over and give it a whirl and see. So we're gonna make our pineapple salsa next. So into a bowl, I'm just gonna add some pineapple. It's frozen pineapple. You can get fresh, it just takes a little longer to break the whole pineapple down. Then we're gonna add a little bit of jalapenos. So it gives that like sweet and spicy element. So we're gonna add a little bit of lime. Of course, salsa needs some salt. So a little salt, and also some fresh red onion that I just chopped, just for some color. So we put everything together, and you can see that I just took a bite, and it was very light, like fish should be, and the pineapple really was the star, and it really showed through.
A few moments later.
So next up, we're going to make vegan gluten-free cornbread, but we're gonna add a twist to it and include some jalapenos and cheese. So it's gonna be a cheesy jalapeno cornbread, but vegan and gluten-free. We're also going to make jackfruit to make a sandwich, and we're gonna make our own barbecue sauce. So we got the ketchup, cider vinegar, brown sugar, a few other seasonings. We're gonna put that into like a whole sandwich, and we are gonna throw in some coleslaw on top as well, and I'm gonna show you how to do all that. Ready? All right, so next up is the cornbread recipe. We're gonna do granulated sugar with some melted butter, and we're gonna whisk that together really well. I hijacked this recipe from Minimalist Baker. I'll put a link up in the corner, in the top right corner, so you can check out their recipe. And obviously I added a few tweaks to it. I added in applesauce and flax eggs, so it's just basically a few tablespoons of flaxseed with some water. Between that and the applesauce, it adds a really nice light, smooth consistency. It's kind of like, they're more like egg replacements. So it's going to bind the cornbread together, but it's also going to give it a very light, fluffy taste. Next, we added in our flour, gluten-free flour, of course. And this is the brand I use. I use the Bob's Red Mill. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's their all-purpose flour. That's what I've used. I haven't tried King Arthur's, but I know everyone says it's really good. And then I just used some store-bought cornmeal. Cornmeal is already gluten-free, so I wasn't too worried about it. We mixed everything together, and then I realized I forgot the liquid, which was the almond milk. And since we can't use traditional cornbread has buttermilk in it, so I believe that the Minimalist Baker uses a acidic, like a lemon juice or something, to the plant-based milk to make it more closer to like a buttermilk. So this is where I switched it up a bit. I put my own twist on this recipe, but I added in some jalapenos. I've been wanting to do this for a while, just to spice it up a little bit. And next we're going to add in some frozen corn. I've been wanting to add this in for a while. I believe on a traditional recipe they add cream of corn, but that wasn't really going to work. So then we added in some shredded cheddar. I was really excited to put this whole recipe together. I've had the cornbread before plain, but I've never added jalapenos, corn, or cheddar cheese to it. So into a bowl, I had already buttered it to grease it up a little bit with some vegan butter. And then we're just going to smooth it out. And then into the oven, it went at, I think, 400 degrees. I'll link the video, like I said. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. So next we're going to make the coleslaw. So I don't really measure. I just estimate. So we're going to add some Grey Poupon mustard for the sauce. Some, don't worry, it's vegan, Hellmann's mayonnaise. Just a little bit, because I don't like this too mayonnaise-y. We're going to do a little salt. Some onion powder. Some garlic powder. A little pinch of some granulated sugar. Kind of mix it up and adjust it as necessary. And we're just going to add a little bit of agave, just make it a little sweeter. So, since we can't do honey, and just mix that up. Perfect. It's almost like a honey mustard, but not quite. So I bought coleslaw, but I didn't want to buy all the cabbage and cut it myself, so we're just going to use a bag of already shredded coleslaw. But feel free, if you want to cut up your own cabbage and carrots and make your own. It's not that difficult to do. I just was trying to save some time, and if you're looking to save some time too, you can. And then the only other thing I like to add is a little splash of vinegar. And then just add a little more in. So we're going to make the barbecue sauce for the jackfruit to marinate it in. So we just poured some Heinz Simply ketchup into a bowl. I like using that one because it has no high fructose corn syrup and pretty straightforward ingredients, and it's pretty low sugar, low carb. Next we added some pepper, and then we added in some salt, and then we added in some paprika, and we added in a few other common ingredients you might find in barbecue sauce, such as some cumin, and then we also added in a little bit of vinegar, just a splash. And we also added in some brown sugar and salt, and then we just kind of stirred it all up and mixed it all up. Then I opened the can of jackfruit, and then I shredded it all up and mixed it with the sauce. In hindsight, I probably should have heated it. It would have shredded much easier, but that's okay. I still was able to shred it down pretty well and mix it into this barbecue sauce that we made. And then I'm going to start assembling my sandwiches. The cornbread is now out of the oven. It looks so good with all that cheese and jalapeno and the fresh corn. I'm really excited to try it. I've never made it with fresh corn in the cornbread before, so pretty excited. Alright YouTube, that's going to be it for this video. Appreciate you watching. Hope you get to make some of these recipes yourself for your Super Bowl Sunday. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And especially don't forget to stay driven. Thanks.